It'll be less to get out and walk. You know, it'll be better to get out and go for like a half hour, you know, like out in the air.
Much better. And then
It's still like current situation.
It's not going to hurt you, right?
there. And then
Seems like
that. Exactly.
yeah. Go out to her. It's not going to be
Really those circles?
without like it's a pretty smooth surface, right? I mean, even on the park side, the sidewalk is relatively
Bring your body back. Sooner than you're
Alright, so usually you're going to
That was one round thing.
My name is Emory M Moore Jr. and this is Exercise and Movement Techniques. So today I have the pleasure and honor to be with Juergen Bamberger, Master Gyrotonic Instructor and Movement Educator. So thank you so much, because I know you're busy flying around the world teaching people. So I'd like you to tell people a little bit about what your background is. How did you get started even teaching people?
My background is dance.
Okay.
So I started dancing when I was 18. And
Say
actually,
last week, no?
Yeah, about. And the teaching came actually right with it, because the dancing started in my high school.
Okay.
And it was like a group that came together voluntarily, people who were interested in exploring dance, and it was a combination of improvisation and European and Israeli folk dance.
Wow.
Yeah. Very cool, actually, and new at the time. You know, the teacher just came into the school and started this.
And you grew up in?
The town is Duisburg in Germany.
Okay, Deutschland, beautiful.
That's right. And so as we progressed with the group, there were other groups, younger groups coming in, and I was asked to take care of the younger group at times. So I already started then to go to kind of leadership courses to educate myself, to get better skills on how to start teaching. So the dancing actually started at the same time as the teaching.
So you've been effectively a teacher for how many years?
I haven't counted, but it must be at least 30, something like that. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And then, I decided to become a professional teacher, but also already with a professional teacher, professional dancer, but with the intent to teach as well.
Okay.
So I went to Rotterdam, Holland, and went to the school there, Rotterdamse Dansakademie at the time.
Okay.
And got into the teachers program as well, and so got my education there to teach.
So you had a lot of things that inform your work, and you do Gyrotonic as your principal medium for expressing your knowledge, yes?
Yeah.
How long ago did you start to do Gyrotonic?
That must be like 23, 24 years ago.
All right.
Yeah.
And you studied directly with Julio, or?
Yeah. When I came to the studio, it was the one studio. There were maybe two other studios in the world.
The 29th Street, I believe.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was
29th
also
Street.
there.
Yeah. So and Julio was making the machines, first in the studio, then in the basement.
Yes, I remember the cat.
Exactly. So it was like a little family operation, Yeah.
And so from then, obviously, now Gyrotonic is worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, always following your exploits. You're in this city, you're in that city, So what is it that you're working on now in your work? What turns Juergen on intellectually and artistically when you're, because you've been working for a long time, you've reached a certain level of mastery. What is it that inspires you right now?
I think there are many different things
Okay.
that come together. You know, in terms of teaching, to me, it's always the interaction with people. And, you know, this is kind of invisible, but there is the constant search to refine communication skills. Like, how can you communicate to a group, but also to an individual in a way that gets through and that's pleasant and also supporting, but at the same time also specific, so you can bring the information, exactly.
Sure.
Bring the information in the way you want to. So that's going on. Also, I've developed a workshop recently, which brings the focus to the psoas muscle, which is this mystery muscle that a lot of people talk about and
Right.
make references to. But as a matter of fact, there's very little, well, there's information out there, but it's not being communicated, it's not spread.
It's not cohesive. I recently got a book just on the psoas, and pardon me because I don't even remember the author. She put out some other things too, but what attracted me to the book was it's just on the psoas. And I saw some limitations in it, but there was some good things in it also, in reference to it being, you know, a multifunctional muscle. It's an interesting muscle, right? It doesn't just do an action, it also stabilizes, supports. And I don't think, you might want to explain a little bit about what the function of the psoas is to people, because we're talking to everyone, not just teachers. So would you like to just give a basic outline of?
Sure. The reason that I started studying and focusing on it is because the psoas is a major part of, you know, what you could call the midsection of the body.
Okay.
And Juergen himself has focused on that with narrowing of the pelvis and later on with the suppling principle. And it's just, as we all know, the midsection is the hardest part of the body to get in touch with. And also to control it in a way that's not creating tension or that's kind of crushing it and actually making the whole thing worse, you know?
Well, see, this is interesting. What you're alluding to, I believe, is the way in which a lot of people train, which is inappropriate because it isn't necessarily a training that gives you an ability. It's actually an exercise routine or workouts that are stressing the muscles inappropriately. They're building a lot of muscle, but they're not creating a lot of intelligence in the muscle. And as you can imagine, they're creating imbalances which go on to create further problems because we already have problems generally. So it's kind of like, what I'm seeing is layered pathologies. You're seeing a problem on top of a problem on top of a problem.
Sure.
And a lot of the times, the things that people are doing that they think are alleviating the problem is actually creating some things down the road.
I think the misunderstanding is that you get a strong midsection by training your abdominal muscles, to strengthen your abdominal muscles. And so the psoas muscle is kind of deeper. It's considered the deepest muscle within the body, so it's behind the abdomen, behind the internal organs. So it
attaches on the posterior spine, which is also impactful, right? Because if the psoas is short, for instance, it's going to have an ability to actually flex the spine, you know, like a chicken. And so I think there are other things that people don't realize. It is deep. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to illuminate for everyone because who may not know the functions of it and what it does and why it's so important. Because, as you say, abdominal is generally the sexy muscle, right? That's the thing that everybody's like, strengthen the core. You think about strengthening the core, more than likely, people's attention goes to the abdominal. So why is this not the case? Why is the abdominal not like, you know, why should it not be the center of importance?
I personally think that you need, it's such a three-dimensional webbing the whole body is, but I think in the midsection it becomes so clear. Because there is a connection from the psoas also to the diaphragm, which is really important to the back, musculature, to the fascia of the back.
The
right?
fascia is the covering of the muscles.
Yes. So it goes all the way around. Now, if and we all struggle with this, gravity, right?
Right.
If you're not able to create length through your spine, it's really difficult for the outer layers to come in and to support what's inside, which is deeper. It's the psoas muscle,
Right.
among others. But I feel like when I'm working and connecting to the psoas, happening right now, I can feel it, right? It's I can feel the transfers kind of coming gently. They gently wrap around from the lumbar fascia, and they're just there without me squeezing or contracting.
Sure.
And a similar thing's true for the psoas muscle. We think we're controlling muscles through a sensation, by having a sensation that's a deep contraction.
Sure.
And that's not the case for the psoas. So, maybe to bring it back to gyrotonic, it's like we have such complex movement patterns that I thought there was a need to add to what's already out there in information on the psoas, specific to our method.
Okay.
You know, so that was the plan, and it's working out really nicely. People appreciate it a lot, and it's fun. It really is very satisfying.
Well, the fun part is important.
Yes.
Otherwise, people don't want to do it. You may not want to do it.
Yes.